afternoon and welcome to the African Utility Week studio. My name is Amy Ryan, Deputy Editor of Metering and Smart Energy International, and today I have with me Bob Lockhart, VP of Cybersecurity Technology and Research at the Utilities Telecom Council. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for taking some time and speaking with us today. And today we'll be talking about cybersecurity within the African context. I know that you will be speaking in a panel during the course of the 3 days, and you'll be discussing some of the preventative measures around cybersecurity and how to effectively communicate that to your staff. Can you briefly touch on those points for us?
Well, I think the most important thing, like one of the things you get asked is what points are you going to make? And I'm really going to make one point over and over and over again, and that's that you have to look at security as a big picture view. You can't say, well, I'm the cyber guy, so all I care about is viruses and that. You have to care about physical security. You have to care about what's going on in the grid. Even if you're not an expert, you have to be wired into it. You know, it's a team effort to keep people safe, to keep the lights on. You just can't say that there's any niches in a utility. Everybody has to be wired into the same playbook. So that's not a common perception of security people. They usually like to be in their own little, but I want people to take the big view. Even if it's not my problem, it is my problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I've often heard people say that security is too important to take a one-dimensional approach. It has to be a holistic view.
Correct. Holistic is the word I like to use.
Okay.
Because you don't fix everything yourself, but you're part of a lot. There's a lot of moving parts, and you're one of them. And you have to be running the same play that everyone else is running. Right? You have to be concerned about the same things, wired into the same priorities. And again, even if, like my background, I know about viruses and I know about awareness programs and that, I have to care about what's going on the poles and the transmitter towers and stuff like that. Even if I'm not an expert, I have to care.
And then can you tell me what are the commonly held misconceptions around cybersecurity that are commonly held by utilities?
So there's a couple. First of all is that it's all really complicated, and it's not. There's a lot of real basic stuff that you still have to do. That said, a lot of people like me come from an IT background, so whether it's healthcare or finance or retail, and there's a problem where you want to say, well, this is just another industry, and I can do the same things I've done before, but it's not that way. Utilities are different, and control systems are different, and if you're like most security people coming from an IT background into a utility, then you have to understand how control systems are different. I've never before had a job where my software could affect people's personal safety. And that has to be, first in mind, right? Nobody gets hurt on the job because of anything I'm doing. And I've never had a job before where I helped keep the lights on. That's different from retail or banking or that. So you have to understand things. You have to get to know a lot of different people that you wouldn't normally get to know in a typical job. So again, it's the holistic perspective, but being part of a team means that you meet people you normally wouldn't as a security guy. You go meet the manager of operations or the manager of the distribution grid, and you talk to them about what matters, and you don't just sit in your office and do your job. You kind of have to be an extrovert, even if you're not an extrovert, which most security people are not. So I think that's the most common misconception, is that it's just another industry like all the others, and I'll just come in there and do the same thing I've done everywhere else. But you can't. You cannot be successful that way.
There are a lot of many different touch points.
Yes, and physical security and cyber security get lumped together sometime, and that's very difficult to do because the strategies are different, the things you're worried about are different, and I have no real aptitude for physical security, right? But I know that I don't, so that's good. But I have to be talking to those people because we're going to overlap a lot in what we're trying to accomplish and use each other's capabilities. So many touch points that in another industry you would not have to worry about.
What would your 3 recommendations be to utilities when drawing up a cybersecurity strategy? and maybe specifically utility CEOs in Africa.
Can I give you 4?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
So
yeah.
the first one is to give security visibility. So either a CEO or a board member should have specific responsibility for what's going on security-wise. It's tough to do sometimes because boards and CEOs have so many things to focus on, but this is one that keeps growing and growing in importance. So it's really important to have that focus there. And that means that whoever is running your cybersecurity should know someone on the board or know the CEO, depending on the size of the utility, and have an open communications channel so that there's understanding there. Part of that is you will probably have to train the security person how to speak in a language that makes sense to a CEO, right? Because we want to talk about bugs and hacks and all that, and there's nothing that a board of directors can do with how many hacks have you had, right? There's no action you can take on that. So you have to be able to convert to usable technology. One of my members said millions and megawatts. He said, put it all in millions and megawatts, but most security people don't know that instinctively, so they're going to have to get some kind of training to understand that. So that's one. The other ones I would say is have at least a risk assessment at some level. Don't do the one that takes 5 years, but understand what your biggest risks are, plan for those, and expect your security lead, whether it's a chief security officer, manager, director, whatever, to have a set of policies in place that are specific to you. You cannot copy those out of a book, right? So have a set of policies that are specific to your utility, your exposures, whether that's demographic issues, socio issues, geographic issues. You know, do you have to worry about earthquakes or tornadoes or whatever, floods? Be prepared for that stuff. The other thing is come to Africa Utility Week, right? And I'm serious. Talk to your peers. Join Africa UTC, because a lot of this is about understanding what your brethren are doing. That's one of the biggest services that we offer as UTC, is just getting people in touch with each other. And what I found, this industry like no other is a brotherhood. You know, there's no reason why a CEO of an African utility cannot call a CEO of a North American or European utility and talk to them about what are the big issues you're dealing with, who are the suppliers you trust. And that was my fourth one, is have a network of suppliers that you can count on. You cannot do business with strangers in this industry, but you can talk to a lot of other utilities and find out who's worked for them for what kinds of projects, what kinds of things were good, bad, and different, and don't try to figure that all out on your own, because people can save you years and millions of dollars by sharing their experience. And I have yet to find a utility that didn't want to help other utilities. I promise you, in the middle of Texas, if we read about a blackout in Africa, we're not happy. Because it's a brotherhood. It resonates every single time.
And that ultimately, that's what the UTC provides, doesn't it? Is that networking and sharing platform?
It's somewhere between an ecosystem and a family. A family sounds a little corny, but as I mentioned, I've just come from our event last week, and I saw so many people I know that I enjoy being with. I love this industry because there's so much at stake. We're all, well, you all are very modest people. There's not much ego because keeping the lights on is so much pressure. But yeah, it's very much of a family, and once you get to the trust level, you can get so much done so much more quickly, more effectively, and with less worry and less risk. So yeah, that's very important.
What are some of your predictions for cybersecurity in the industrial sector? For 2017 or 2018? Okay,
so I decided to be an optimist. Some people are going to... Now, you have to understand, security people are by nature very paranoid. The rest of the world thinks paranoia is bad. We think it's wonderful. Okay, but so I have three. I think that this is the year we begin to focus more on outcomes rather than prescriptive compliance. It's going to take years to effect that transformation completely, but I think this is the year when we've seen enough attacks where we start to say it's more important to protect ourselves than check a bunch of boxes and say, hey, I passed my audit. So I'm hoping that's the beginning of this year. Corollary to that, my second prediction or hope, whatever you want to call it, is we will see spending more driven by outcomes than by complying with specific regulations. And again, this may take several years to accomplish, but I think we're going to see more spending that's boards and CEOs saying, what do I have to do to protect my grid? Not what do I have to do to not get an audit, but what do I have to do to be secure? And I do have some member utilities that have said that to their technical directors and that, and they're getting back, here's a list, and okay. And the key, if you're a security person watching this, you better have the answer to that question ready and in your back pocket and crisp, so that when your CEO or your board member comes to you and says, what do we have to do? You can go, oh, it's going to cost this much. Not, well, let me get back to you. That's not the time to say, let me get back to you. If you're a security director, you have to be prepared to answer that question.
Yeah.
The third one is semi-optimistic. I don't think we're yet going to see an attack where some kind of malware just directly inserts itself into a grid and starts affecting power reliability. I think we'll probably see more of the multifaceted, like the Ukraine blackout in 2015, where there's a sequence of 5 or 6 events that if you put them all together, it looks pretty bad. If you look at the deconstructed, every one of those steps could have been prevented. So I think we'll see more of that, and that's one of the reasons why I think we're going to see more spending and more outcome-driven management of security, because those attacks will continue. I don't think there's the technology yet to just unannounced show up inside the control network and break things.
Yeah.
So.
And then finally, there's the terms machine intelligence and artificial intelligence. I'm sure you've heard of these.
Yes.
Both of these terms swirling around the industry. What do you think? How do you think cybersecurity is going to become even more important, taking into account the development of those?
Well, and we're already there, because the tools that really matter in that case are called anomaly detection. So it's no more, I'm going to write 5 million rules for my firewall and check all these. It's going to be, the systems that I'm seeing now that are really successful are the ones that have learned through their own artificial intelligence what's normal for this system. And that's easy to do for a control system, because it's not people that are the actors, it's machines.
Yes.
So you know what they're going to do, you know when they're going to do it, and stuff that doesn't follow that pattern is easy to identify. So if you're looking at an electric grid and you see email traffic going across, you go, that makes no sense. And that's very easy for a piece of software to detect that anomaly and stop it and flag it so that somebody goes and investigates it. So what you'll see is more and more understanding of anomalies and more automated response to those anomalies, because it'll get to a point where there's too much for humans to react. You're going to need a staff of thousands. So I think at that point, the automated reaction is going to be a huge differentiator. So they get intelligent, we get intelligent, they get intelligent, we get intelligent, but we keep up with it.
Thank you so much, Bob. Thank you for sharing your insights.
This was great fun. Thank you.
That's unfortunately all we have time for today. Thank you so much for watching.